What's up, Facebook Live? I'm back again with another episode. 2 days in a row. I don't I don't have a life. It's sad, really. Well, it's not really sad because I'm doing what I love to do. I'm doing what I'm passionate about professional wrestling, so that's normally what I talk about when I go Facebook Live. So that's what I'm talking about. All right, so I decided to watch SummerSlam 2006 this afternoon, and all right. Oh, I just got an invitation to go over somebody's house, which I'm about to take that invitation when I'm done with this video. Um, that's why I can't go Facebook Live all the time, man, because I be getting distracted and shit. Anyway, so I watched SummerSlam 2006 this afternoon, and I remember watching this show one other time, and it was 10 years ago. This is 2016, 2006. I watched it at BW3's. This is when BW3's used to show the pay-per-view events, and a lot happened that day. I remember I was in a car accident that day, and I was in the hospital. I was out of the hospital. I got to the show. It was a memorable day. A lot happened that day. But the one thing I remember is getting to BW3's, and it was standing room only. I mean, I don't even think I got food that night because there was like nowhere to sit and shit. So, um, yeah. So I got to BW3's, and I remember watching the show standing for most of it, and I just remember leaving BW3's pissed. Like, this show was like the drizzling shits. It was like the worst pay-per-view I had ever seen up to that point. And I had started watching wrestling in 2000, so to me this was like the worst pay-per-view ever I had ever saw. I was furious. And then I sat down today and I thought about which show I wanted to review. And we are in SummerSlam season. And I've already done 2002 with Up Jarvis. I already did 2005. So I thought, shit, let me go back and do '06. Let me see if it's really as bad as I remember it being. And watching it back now with a more adult perspective on the event, it wasn't as bad as I remember it being, but it was still pretty fucking bad. So, that being said, let's get started here. Also, before we get started, one thing I've noticed about SummerSlam, it seems like all the big fours, well, all the rest of the three major four pay-per-views of the year, they always have some sort of gimmick. What up, Matt? They always have some sort of gimmick to them. Like the Royal Rumble, you look forward to seeing the Royal Rumble match because you want to see a motherfucker get thrown over the top rope. It's simplistic, but it's the simple things that work in life. Survivor Series, you look forward to seeing the big tag matches, the 4-man or the 5-man, 4-on-4, 5-on-5, whatever. You look forward to seeing those elimination matches. And WrestleMania basically speaks for itself. I mean, WrestleMania is there's your bump. WrestleMania is basically, it speaks for itself. I have to bump every time Jalen joins my video. It's for whatever reason. WrestleMania speaks for itself. SummerSlam really doesn't have a gimmick though. Like it's really just, yay! It's summertime and it's the biggest party of the summer, and we're gonna do stuff that normal people do in the summer. We're gonna cook out and grill. And I'm not doing that, Matt. We're gonna grill hot dogs and jump in the pool, and we're gonna wear bikinis and do everything that everyone else does in the summertime. But we're gonna wrestle too because it's the summertime. Okay, so that's the thing with SummerSlam. It kind of never really has a gimmick other than it being in the summertime, and that's just one thing I've just now started to notice about SummerSlam after about damn near 20 years of watching wrestling. So we start off with Rey Mysterio versus Chavo Guerrero. A little bit of trivia for you guys. Rey Mysterio and Chavo Guerrero would also have another match at the following year's SummerSlam of 2007. I'm sorry, Rhonda, you missed my bump on the couch already. So, yeah, they would have a following match the next year, 2007. And I just want to welcome y'all to... what bug? Shut up, Matt. Anyway, I want to welcome y'all to 2006. where JBL gave no shits. I mean, JBL on commentary probably was the best in his career at the table in 2006 and 2007. Oh boy, without a doubt. One thing I found interesting about this match is they were basically fighting for the honor of Eddie Guerrero, and this pissed me off on so many levels. But the one thing that really made me mad about this whole concept of this match is that Eddie had died a year ago. I mean, this was in August, SummerSlam. Eddie had died in November. And, like, you're still profiting off of Eddie's death. And that's what the WWE did. I don't care what you say about it. The WWE made a profit off of Eddie's death by continuing to use Eddie Guerrero in storylines, giving Rey Mysterio this monster push for no reason, just because he was Eddie's friend. Which, I mean, on the surface, is reason for Chavo Guerrero to be envious. I mean, Rey's not even a Guerrero and he's getting this push. He won the world title that year. Probably had one of the worst title reigns of all time. But anyway, Chavo Guerrero would cost Rey Mysterio the world title at the Great American Bash. And that's kind of what led to this match. Well, that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. Basically, Chavo Guerrero felt like Rey Mysterio was living off of Eddie Guerrero. And he didn't have a right to do that because he wasn't a Guerrero. So, if you take away the bullshit reason for this match happening, and if you take away Vicky Guerrero's interference at the end, this was a solid match. I gave it a 3.2. But Vicky Guerrero's interference would cause Rey Mysterio to fall off the top rope. Chavo Guerrero would give Rey Mysterio a mean brainbuster, and then Chavo would do the frog splash to get the win. 3.2 for that match. So yeah, that's that match. We had a King Booker segment where Edge walked in and interrupted Booker T and Sharmell. And they had this dumbass bet that it made no sense. It was like, alright, if Booker T would have, because Booker T was the World Heavyweight Champion who was representing SmackDown, Edge was the WWE Champion representing Raw. And the bet was whoever lost, like if Edge lost, he'd have to go to SmackDown and kiss Booker's feet. And if Booker T lost, he'd have to go to Raw and be Edge's servant. But they both won their matches. Like, so that bet was like for nothing. I didn't understand that. Moving on, one of my notes. Big Show versus Sabu. This was a big mess. That's what this was. I gave this a 2. This match basically only got a 5-day build because it was the number one contenders ladder match on that episode of ECW, that TV episode of ECW. And quite frankly, the ladder match was better than the match at SummerSlam. I thought. You had Sabu and RVD going at it. I've never been a fan of Sabu. I really don't think it takes a lot of athleticism to do what he does, minus like the triple jump moonsault and stuff like that. But I've just never been a fan of Sabu. I'm not, believe it or not, I'm not a huge fan of that hardcore style all the time. I mean, it has its places in wrestling, and boy, did it have its place on this show with Mick Foley and Ric Flair, and I'll get to that in a minute. But this match was basically Sabu getting offense with a chair, Big Show basically tossing Sabu around like a fucking child, and that was basically it. They botched one. Well, Sabu didn't botch it. The table botched it. What's up, Jeffrey? The table slipped when Sabu was trying to triple jump moonsault, and you could tell Big Show was visually pissed off about that spot being botched. They broke like 3 tables, and like the 3rd table was a choke slam, and Big Show went over. Will do. Then we had Layla's Initiation. I gave that Big Show Sabu match a 2. Layla's Initiation. This was nice because we got to see Layla's ass. That was pretty much all the divas initiated her. They threw her in a shower and showered her with her clothes on. Because Layla had just won the Diva Search competition. Okay. Hogan versus Orton. This is just horrible. I mean, oh my god. Oh, I'm having deja vu back to 2006 again. 2006 was just a shit year for the WWE. I don't know what it was. I don't know whether they didn't have a strong enough roster or what. But Hogan Orton. Hogan, now I will give Hogan credit for wrestling this match on a knee replacement and a hip replacement and needing knee surgery, and he still did this match. I give Hogan all the credit in the world, but that does not take away from how crap this match was. I mean, some more trivia. Hogan's undefeated at SummerSlam, and he would, of course, defeat Randy Orton because Hulk Hogan signs a contract with a no-loss clause in his contract, brother. Because I can't lose, brother. Rah! And here's my problem, though. Not that I necessarily wanted Orton to win. Here's my problem with this match. Orton they were still trying to push this Legend Killer gimmick. And in my opinion, the Legend Killer gimmick died at WrestleMania 21. When Orton lost to The Undertaker clean as a fucking whistle, with interference from his father at that. When Orton lost at WrestleMania 21 to The Undertaker, the Legend Killer was no more. That was it, in my opinion. But he had that feud with The Undertaker in 05. He lost the feud, which further cemented the, well, I didn't know if people knew. Did you know that Hogan was undefeated at SummerSlam? I'm willing to bet you didn't know that. So it's trivia for anyone who doesn't know. So Orton lost the feud to The Undertaker in 2005, which to me basically killed his Legend Killer gimmick. No pun intended. He didn't really do shit. He was in the main event, or the SmackDown 9-minute main event at WrestleMania 22, and he lost that. He lost the fall. Then he got either suspended or hurt. I don't remember. Because I know Kurt Angle broke his ankle, but I think he got suspended. And he was out. Then he got drafted to Raw, and he feuded with Hogan. With this bullshit Legend Killer gimmick that he was still trying to hold on to. Also, the whole... just the creepy factor that Brooke was 16 at the time and Randy Orton was hitting on her. Brooke was either 16 or 17. Orton's like 25, 26, 23, 24 or something like that. It's creepy. That whole thing right there was just creepy. That's funny. You should go back and watch my review. I did SummerSlam 05. That's a couple episodes. Actually, Jalen, that's WrestleMania. That's episode 30, where I covered SummerSlam 2005. And I talked all about Hogan overselling that shit. But, yeah. This match was crap. Orton hit the RKO. Hogan got his foot in a rope. And then there was the whole punch to the face and the Hulk up and, no. 3 punches to the face. Irish whip. Big boot. Leg drop. 1, 2, 3. Pose to the crowd. Pose with that jiggly fat guy that has your face painted on your back. Moving on. That was a 2.3. Now we get to the best match in the card, in my opinion. Mick Foley versus Ric Flair in the I Quit match. Words cannot describe how fucking awesome this match was. And like I said, I watched this show for the first time in 10 years. So when I watched this today, I was like, damn. Mick Foley and Ric Flair are really tearing each other apart. And it's just wonderful. I mean, both these men bled buckets. I think it was funny when Ric Flair grabbed a mic he had, like, Foley down on the mat. He was like, quit or I'll kill you right here. I felt a little uncomfortable. I'm like, wow. Like, this is a little uncomfortable now. And then Melina came out and got involved in the match. And this was after Ric Flair was scraping Mick Foley's face with that barbed wire bat, trying to gouge his eyes out. Melina jumps in the ring. And then Ric Flair takes a swing at Melina with the baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, really? And like right before Flair connected, he didn't hit Melina, thank God, but right when he got close, that's when Mick Foley said, "I quit." And I really love the storytelling there. I really appreciate the storytelling in that particular instance, because it was Mick Foley quitting on Melina's behalf to save her. It wasn't Mick Foley quitting on his own volition because he wanted to save himself. He was saving Melina. And I really appreciated the storytelling. And then it just kind of pissed me off the next night when Mick Foley joined the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club, and then Melina kicked him in the nuts and fired him. I'm like, wow, that is just a way to do somebody wrong right there. But anyway, I gave that a 3.8. Best match of the card, without a doubt. King Booker versus Batista. Now, this match is interesting, not because the match was interesting, because the match sucked. It was 1.7. But these two men, prior to this match, really got into a real fight at like a SummerSlam photo shoot. So, and you could just tell by like watching them work that they were just going through the motions, that they really didn't want to be in the ring with each other. And I just thought it was funny. And what was even funnier is when Michael Cole was like, "There's a lot of animosity between these two," and JBL was like, "Yeah, I know. I was at the photo shoot." Like, JBL gave no fucks. Like, that's why JBL was awesome. Because, I mean, even if I was watching that, what up, Sweet? Even if I was watching that at SummerSlam 10 years ago, I wouldn't have caught that. If I was just watching that on pay-per-view, I probably wouldn't have caught that. But I love watching pay-per-views or re-watching them by myself, because I always catch shit. And when JBL said that line, I was like, you son of a bitch. JBL was probably the best part. That's what made the match enjoyable to me. Just that one line from JBL. Everything else was just them going through the motions. Batista would hit a jackhammer on King Booker. I can't do it like Booker T does. You know what else I hate about that King Booker gimmick? I appreciate the fact that Booker T was able to go there and really transform the gimmick, but Booker T would never stay in his gimmick. Like, he'll be cutting a promo, because I'm King Booker, and then he would just start talking ghetto, like, yeah, man, because I'm going to whoop your ass, because I'm King Booker. Like, he kept switching between an English accent and a black accent. Like, he could never just keep the King gimmick going, which honestly is what made it funny for me. But anyway, yeah, the match ended on a DQ. Batista was going for the Batista bomb, and Sharmell jumped in the ring, and I don't know what she was. I don't know what the hell she was doing. She jumped on Batista's back. Anyway, physical contact causes the DQ, and that match ended on a DQ. So I gave that a 1.7, and then Booker T had the fucking nerve, to sandbag Batista for the Batista bomb. Because even though, you know, Batista's got to get his heat back, even though he just got screwed out of the title, Batista got to get his heat back, so he is the spine buster. I think Booker T sandbagged him on the spine buster too. And if you don't know what sandbagging is, let me explain it for anyone who's watching. When you sandbag somebody, you're purposely dead weighting yourself so that they can't properly lift you for whatever maneuver you're doing. All moves work like this. The suplex, you have to post the jump up to get the suplex. Same thing with a scoop slam, anything of that nature. And power bombs too. Booker T sandbagged the fuck out of Booker T. And let me just tell, or out of Batista, let me just tell you, sandbagging is a way to get yourself hurt. Because if you're not used to that dead weight, they'll either just drop you immediately, like Brock Lesnar did Hardcore Holly, or they'll just lose your grip and drop you. And there's a lot of bad things that can come with that. But that was 1.7. That match sucked. That was just... It was for the World Heavyweight title, if you guys cared. I know I didn't. DX versus the McMahons. I was talking to Steve Fish earlier about this because I posted a status, Facebook status, talking about that I was going to be watching the show, and he had mentioned that DX versus the McMahons and like the Sabu and Big Show match was bad. The Big Show Sabu match was bad, granted, I'll give you that. But here's my thing. DX versus the McMahons, I gave that a 3. I'll just get my rating out of the way. Here's what I want to talk about with this particular match and every McMahon match. Every McMahon match is overbooked to shit. It's just, it's how it is. And I challenge you, for anyone that is watching this video, I challenge you to go back, seriously, and find me a Vince McMahon match or a Shane McMahon or Stephanie McMahon match where it is not overbooked to shit, where the finish is not diluted with some sort of screwy finish, or there's not 9 million people interfering. That is the challenge to my viewers out there. If you could find that video, post a link in the comments, and I'll watch it. Because I can't think of one McMahon match that had a clean finish with no interference. And I wrote a list of everybody that interfered in this tag match. Okay? It's the Spirit Squad. So that's 5 people. Mr. Kennedy, William Regal, Finlay, who he was the U.S. champion, so he had to get booked on the show some kind of way, and Big Show. So those 10 people interfered in this match before the match even started. Obviously, the Spirit Squad was dealt with very quickly. So, I guess that's 9, isn't it? 5 plus 4 is 9. I'm a jackass, you can't add. So, the Spirit Squad was taken care of immediately. Then Mr. Kennedy, Regal, and Finlay and Big Show beat the shit out of Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Triple H even got chokeslammed through the ECW table because I guess that's just the reason of having the table there, because they only called one match. Which I never understood. I never understood the point of that anyhow. Anyway, I don't want to get too much off topic. I want to concentrate on this match. So yeah. They had 9 people beat the shit out of him before the bell rang. Then Vince, his little cock of the walk walks down there with his demon seed Shane McMahon, and they started beating up Shawn Michaels because Michaels is in the ring. So Michaels is taking the heat. Triple H is taking the nap. Yeah, he is. He got chokeslammed. You don't got to sell that long, Triple H. Damn. So Triple H gets the chokeslam. Michaels takes the heat. The McMahons rip off Demolition with the backbreaker elbow spot. The Hart Foundation with the heart attack move, which is like you set up like a spine buster, and then the other guy jumps to hit you with a clothesline. And then, speaking of clotheslines, you got the Doomsday Device, which is basically an electric chair drop and a clothesline, which is LOD's move. Now, one thing I want to note about this sequence here is those are all finishing maneuvers that have ended matches in the past. And the McMahons hit those 3 finishing maneuvers on Shawn Michaels, and he kicks out. And in my mind, maybe not intentionally, but basically with Shawn Michaels kicking out, it just basically buried every 80s tag team move ever. And then to add insult to injury, Michaels even made a comeback. Like, he started firing back, and Triple H tried to make a comeback, and he got took a baseball slide to his ribs and got put in JR's lap. But Triple H would eventually get the tag, and it would be 2-on-2 again, and then Umaga would interfere, along with Estrada. I include Estrada in this interference list because Estrada distracted Vince McMahon, or distracted the referee so that Umaga could get the Samoan Spike onto Triple H, which would end with a kick out at 2, burying that move as well, which is disheartening because Umaga was undefeated at the time. But you can argue Triple H had a little bit of time to kick out, but still. So Umaga goes after Shawn Michaels, and then Kane comes out, and I guess I should explain Kane. Vince McMahon already had Umaga in his back pocket in the weeks leading up to SummerSlam. DX backstage before this match started was seen talking to somebody, telling them that Umaga was the biggest monster in the WWE according to Vince McMahon. Obviously, the person they were talking to was Kane, because that's who interfered and beat the shit out of Umaga. So after all that business happened, Shane went for the coast to coast. Shawn Michaels hit him with a super kick, literally in midair as Shane was jumping from the turnbuckle. It was sickening. That took out Triple H. Then took out Shane McMahon rather with that super kick. So Vince McMahon was left by himself. Shane McMahon grabbed a trash can lid, hit him in the head with it. Super kick, pedigree, 1, 2, 3. DX goes over. I gave that a 3, and you guys might think that that might be a higher rating than it should. But you gotta remember, man, it's a McMahon match. It's gonna be overbooked. It's gonna be diluted with a lot of interference. It's something to expect. So am I saying that this match was a classic? Absolutely not. But I'm definitely saying that this match was fun to watch. It was just fun to see all the mayhem and all the chaos and all that. It was just fun. It was fun. And DX was fun. So, it was a fun match. The main event was Edge versus John Cena, which was, in my opinion, the rivalry of the year. I mean, I'll try not to be here all night explaining the rivalry, but it basically started with, it wouldn't end here, it would end in Unforgiven, but I'll cover that in a few minutes. Edge would win Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 21, and that would guarantee him a title shot whenever he wanted it. Now, at the time, it was for the World Heavyweight Championship, but Batista would be drafted to SmackDown in 2005, and the WWE Champion, which was John Cena, would come to Raw. So Cena was on Raw at the time in 2006. Edge still had the contract, which was valid, I guess, for the WWE title now, because Cena was on Raw. John Cena had survived an Elimination Chamber match at New Year's Resolution in January. Edge would cash in Money in the Bank and win the title. He would lose it back to Cena at the Royal Rumble 3 weeks later, because Anyway, the title would kind of go between Cena and RVD, and then Edge would win it in a triple threat match, but he would pin RVD, he wouldn't pin Cena. And so that's how Edge got the title back. They wrestled at Saturday Night Main Events like a month prior to SummerSlam, and it was a DQ finish. And so that led to the rematch of SummerSlam. Now, this match, obviously the best in their series is going to be Unforgiven in the Table of Ladders and Chairs match. But this was actually not bad. This was a really good match. The stipulation on it was that if Edge got disqualified, he would lose the WWE title, and that was because he got disqualified at Saturday Night Main Events. But for some odd reason, Lita kept throwing him steel chairs and throwing the WWE title in the ring for Edge to use as weapons in front of the referee. None of this made any sense to me. And I'm sorry, that took away from the match. I gave it a 3.5. I would have scored it higher, but just Lita being a dumbass took away from it, because it doesn't make sense. Now, Lita's basically exposed top, which added to the match. I'm sorry, I'm a pervert. Added to the match. So, it was back and forth, man. I mean, I really think that Edge brought the best out in John Cena. John Cena was having some of his best matches in 2006 with Edge, in my opinion. Edge brought the best out in him. Cena went into this event undefeated. Edge went into this event 6-1. Don't ask me where he lost at. I don't remember. The match would end where John Cena would have the STFU, or the Step Over Crossface, which is what it's called now because we're PG. He would have the submission maneuver applied on Edge. Edge would grab the rope, but as referee was getting Edge off of Cena, Lita was strategically place brass nuts on John Cena's hand, on Edge's hand. And then Edge would go for a punch, Cena would duck and get him up in the FU, or the attitude adjustment. Lita would jump in the ring, and this should have been a DQ right here, in my opinion. But Lita would jump in the ring and jump on Edge's back for some reason. So Cena would basically not do a double attitude adjustment, but would kind of just pop Lita off so Lita would take the bump. Edge escapes from the attitude adjustment and hits Cena in the back of the head with the brass nuts and pinned him for the 1, 2, 3. I thought it was perfect storytelling. I really do. And a lot of people probably didn't like it. I'm sure because they were in Boston. Cena is from Boston. And I know the fans didn't like it, but I appreciated it for the storytelling. Because I always think that there's more money in the face chasing the heel. And what better way for Cena to get his revenge? And what better way for Cena to get his revenge on Edge for it to be in Edge's hometown, which is what happened in Toronto. Edge would lose the title back to John Cena, and that would start a year-long reign for Cena. God help me. But yeah, that was a 3.5. Overall, it was a 2.78. In retrospect, watching the show back, it was not as bad as I remember it being. But it was still pretty shitty. And I think the problem with this show lies in the fact that, and me and Steve were talking about this earlier, you had too many main event matches on one card. And you didn't really have enough time to evenly promote and advertise every match. Now, on the surface, you look at this card, you got shit, Ric Flair, Mick Foley, I Quit, Hogan, Orton, Cena, Edge, Booker T, Batista, DX versus the McMahons. On the card, on the surface, it looks like you got a pretty stellar event, but it's just too many main events. And what happens is you'll wear your audience out that way. And like I said, you don't have enough time to promote each event and advertise each match. Like, the opening video only advertised 3 matches. It was the 2 world title matches and the tag match. Hogan and Orton wasn't advertised. Mick Foley and Ric Flair wasn't advertised. That's why I like those pay-per-view video opening packages where they highlight every match that's going to be on the card. Because it makes each match seem important. And this show, the only matches that were important were the matches that they highlighted at the beginning of the show. Like I said, I think that hurt it a lot. So like I said, I have a more adult perspective on this now, and it was not as bad, but it was still pretty bad. So, overall rating was a 2.78. And I might do a couple more SummerSlams coming up, because this is the week now, because tomorrow's Sunday, and we got Monday Night Raw, and we got SmackDown, and we got SummerSlam 2016. So, that means predictions are back, baby! Oh yeah! Prediction video is coming up. I will do my predictions video for you guys probably on Wednesday. I used to be able to do it on Monday because SmackDown really wouldn't matter. But now we got 2 separate rosters, and now I have to watch SmackDown. So, if I'm not too tired Tuesday night, I'll do my predictions videos Tuesday night. But more than likely, I'll probably end up doing it on Wednesday. And, so then after that, like I said, I might do 1 or 2 SummerSlams in between. I think I'm gonna do last year's SummerSlam. That was a fun event. And then of course I'm gonna do the predictions video. I'll probably do SummerSlam from last year, and then I'll do my review of this year's SummerSlam after the fact. Anybody that's local that's watching me right now, I'm having SummerSlam at my place. So if you want to come by and watch it, the place is not a really big place, but I've had like 15 people in here for WrestleMania, so come on through. I'll have it on the network. There might be food. I'm cheap. There probably won't be food, so yeah, eat before you come. I'll have refreshments though, pop and chips. So come on through, have a good time. And like I said, I'm going to have the prediction video coming for you for this year's SummerSlam. I'll probably do SummerSlam 2015. I might throw in another old school SummerSlam. Maybe 98. Yeah, 98. That sounds good. Either 98 or 2000. As a matter of fact, hey, give me some suggestions on what SummerSlams you want me to do. Not just SummerSlams. Any pay-per-view you want, throw some suggestions my way and I'll do them. So yeah, I got those videos coming for you. Then I have, of course, the live reaction, or it won't be live. It'll be live when I do it. But I'll do a SummerSlam video for this year. Anyway, I'm Warren. It's been real. You guys have a nice night.